In the previous half guard drill, we used a static knee lever to take our opponent over. This works best in situations where your opponent has you stuck flat on your back. This is primarily used as a last resort before an opponent starts raising their hips to pass by freeing their trapped leg. Half guard is a mirrored position, and one of the main ways both players are trying to gain advantage is through changing your angle so that your hips and knees point towards your opponent. By changing the angle, you can use two of your legs to control one of your opponent's legs. To do this in the bottom position, we need to hip escape either off of the floor or off of our opponent's hip. Once you have sufficient space and angle, you can then get a bite of your opponent's leg using your knee pit. This bite offers significant control over your opponent's leg, which allows you to easily scoot under your opponent's base, elevating their knee and sweeping them over. When you want to use the knee lever offensively to sweep your opponent, this is the preferred method as it offers unparalleled control and is more forgiving in regards to timing your sweep. You will use the same bridge that we looked at previously, however, you can now start to link the bridge and the knee lever together using the push-pull dynamic. When you bridge into your opponent and you feel them resisting by pushing back into you, switch to the knee lever and use their momentum against them. This push-pull dynamic works both ways and is critical for success in the bottom game of Jiu-Jitsu. As we did in the previous progression, perform 10 bridges and 10 knee levers, focusing on one side at a time. Work towards proficiency on one side before moving on to the other. Once you have mastered this on both sides, you are ready for the next progression.
So we want to play multi-directional as we try and off-balance our opponent. We want to utilize the push-pull dynamic. And let's say I get a bridge and it's not working, and he's pushing back into me. I should be able to take advantage of this and knee lever him the other direction. So this drill teaches you how to play this push-pull dynamic. This particular style of knee lever, it's a bit more fiddly and it's going to be a little bit harder to play off against the bridge. The next level of knee lever is my favorite and the one I'll use the majority of the time. What I want to do is always create this angle. If I bring my foot to the mat, I always want my inner knee at the pocket of his hip. If we post our foot up here, we just let him pass the 3/4 mat. So I keep my knee in here. I'm going to perform a small hip escape like I'm going to go towards that knee shield. I want to grip the back of Mike's hamstring with the back of my knee. So you see my knee point down towards the floor? I'm going to grip the back of his leg. My other knee remains in contact with his hip here. So it's not all the way for a knee shield, all the way in front. It's still in the pocket of the hip. Now this grip of the back of his hamstring gives me a lot of control of this leg. I call it getting a bite. We're going to perform this hip escape and invert our knee here. I grip the back of Mike's knee with my knee. Now what's really important is this knee always remains in contact with his hip. I'm then going to bring my foot to the floor and bring both feet in contact with the mat. So in this, my outside foot's actually going to block his knee, but we're not actually going to perform the same mechanic as we did previously where I point both knees across. I'm going to bring my toes engaged with the floor and scoot my hips under him. So I scoot under. So you see how here, Mike's knee is now off the floor. If he tries to post his knee out this direction, it's not going anywhere because my cross feet will block him. I'll then point my knees across, push his hip down like we did before, and we take him up and over. This is my preferred style of knee lever. So from here, I perform this hip escape, invert my knee, and I get that bite. I always keep my left knee in the pocket of his hip. I grip the back of his knee. I'm going to bring this foot in contact with the mat and bring both feet in contact here. I'm then going to scoot my hips underneath Mike's to get his knee completely off the floor. I can then point my knees across and use my hand on his hip to get through that sticking point. So we can combine these drills back and forth. Right? So I can bridge Mike over. Mike can knee level me back. Okay, I can knee level Mike. He can then bridge me back. So the goal is going side to side with your training partner and getting plenty of practice.